Jose Baudil on the right-hand side, the Real Madrid youth product to create chances from the midfield.
One of the great chance creators in the league for San Antonio. They started 14 games unbeaten. They've struggled a bit of late. Here's their lineup.
They've struggled a bit of late in the attacking end. They will rely on Billy Forbes. We talked about him earlier and his speed, but also Chris Tierpak, number 19. He loves to combine down that flank and get in behind with skillful movement and possibly playing off Viga or Castillo.
Just 6 goals in the last 8 games for San Antonio. The early story in the United Soccer League this year, taking on a team that isn't in the playoff picture right now, but they've won a game in the postseason each of the last 3 years. San Antonio, OKC are next.
Nice job, guys.
Victory from the jaws of defeat right there. That's what I'm talking about. Differently abled. That's an early career ender.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Nice. Tom just said at least we have one viewer. Doubtful.
I'm like in that weird edge of a burp, and I have been now for the better part of 15 minutes. That's very frustrating.
We're gonna be coming right into play because we're gonna be coming back at about 7:10.
Is that his girlfriend? Oh, they're going to Portland. Oh, stop. He actually, I think, is legitimately. He's a boss. He's a boss. He's a G. OG. Stop. Fine.
90 back.
I'm sorry.
1 minute back. $45.
San Antonio. Yeah, you can say SAFC. If they take a little while to kick off, is there a route you want to go?
30 seconds. Just coming back with a field and play ball.
All right. Okay. All right.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
San Antonio, one of the great stories in the Young United Soccer League season. Their 14-game unbeaten streak to start the year has been snapped against Colorado Springs on the road, but they come back home where they are unbeaten, 5 wins and 3 draws on the year against an OKC Energy team that has typically had their number in league play. Will it be the case tonight? With Morgan Conklin and Kate Markgraf, Mike Watts, and we're underway in San Antonio, Texas from Toyota Field, the United Soccer League game of the week between San Antonio FC and Oklahoma City Energy. And already Greg Cochran under a bit of pressure. Caleb Mendez is the referee. This is a game where VAR is available, so 5 officials involved in this contest. And Diego Restrepo kicks it away. Stepping in for the injured Matt Cardoni early in the year and has proven well worthy of the starting jersey. Dixon over the top for Gonzalez. McCarthy. Gonzalez, who scored that excellent bicycle kick that landed #1 on SportsCenter Top 10. The flip throw from Michael Harris finding him off the missed clearance by a defender. Viewed well over 10 million times in the end. As Wallace goes flying into the end line, and San Antonio has created an early opportunity here.
Right now it's all going down the right-hand side because Dixon is on the right-hand side. We thought he might start central. Gonzalez is actually going to be that focal point up top. And Dixon gets to play in his preferred winger position and try to create chances from the width.
And there's Baril, the top chance creator on this club, primarily due to his expertise on set pieces. Off the head of Cyprian Hedrick, former Oklahoma City Energy man. Lobbed over the top, and there's Diego Restrepo. San Antonio 10 shutouts this year. That's best in the league. They're trying to attack the record held by Rochester Rhinos from 2015. 18 in 30 games. Attack on for Kyle Highland. He sends it low. Skitters all the way across and out of play. It's a goal kick after the Bay Village, Ohio native knocks it out of play.
He loves to get forward. He's a two-sided player, very comfortable with the ball at his feet, likes to hit that left-footed service, especially to that far post, looking for the opposite side. Playing a little bit more advanced position today.
Usually that outside back, but with the return of a couple of players health-wise in the back, Andrews was out due to red card last game. Wallace has been playing both outside back and center back. Had some options back there. As the ball played ahead, target was a Jaquwa. Carried ahead by Michael Reed. Motioning traffic, ball comes to Devin Vega. The youngster lost the handle. Attack still on though as the turn comes from a Jaquwa. Rafa Castillo. Tierpak lets it by. Vega touches it wide. Forbes appearing on the back post, and a corner comes for San Antonio. And Kyle Highland is the injured player.
Going down hard. Highland is playing that outside mid, but it took a while for San Antonio to be willing to capitalize on the space out wide. That was the space given. Takes an awkward hit, it looks like Highland, as he's going up for the block. But with so many numbers central, it's going to be critical for San Antonio in order to break down this back line at OKC, to get wide and to use it. Head coach Darren Powell yelling instructions to his teammates.
We'll see what San Antonio can do on this opening corner kick in the 5th minute. Castillo, not that time. Reed, all the way across the face, a goal. It belongs to Cody Lorendi and the energy. Well, Cody Lorendi wasn't really the story of the most recent game for this energy side against Pachuca. It was 13 saves for his backup, C.J. Cochran, as Highland being stretched out. But Lorendi has become a mainstay. We thought this might be Battle of the Beards, but an injury to Matt Cardoni on the other end robs us of that ever apparent storyline between these teams. There's Jimmy Nielsen, former goalkeeper for Sporting Kansas City, the longest tenured coach in the Western Conference for this Oklahoma City team, the only one that's won a playoff game each of the last 3 years in the West. Ahead with speed, no whistle as Reed knocks it back. Castillo trying to release Cochran up the touchline. He's tracked it down. Forbes has arrived. Tagging it wide, keeping it off the carom. Now Forbes into the corner. Forbes got the cross away. Ball comes free to Forbes. Oh, he just missed it. And meanwhile, Dixon went down. It looked like he ran into his own teammate, and he's appealing for a foul.
That did look gruesome at first. A little bit dangerous. You get to see Forbes bouncing on the ball. Dixon, thankfully, OKC's defender held up a little bit, but that could have been more dangerous. But the ball took an awkward bounce on Forbes, and Forbes mishit it completely.
Darren Powell told us this week, we'll be direct when we need to be, indirect when we need to be. And a lot of that goes around really Forbes making the right runs and the right decisions. As San Antonio is off to the races, Chris Tierpak, who played with Swope Park Rangers last year, he's known for the fantastic goal. Bounced up and hit his hand, it appeared. Play continues. McCarthy allows Diego Restrepo to take over. Bit of danger to that square ball. Clip to Wallace. Baril. Played wide, it's Highland. Baril takes the shot. Well over. Ibiaga. Sold out Toyota Field. It's the best home fort in the league so far in the Alamo City. 18 points taken from 8 games. All for Forbes, knotted away by Dixon. Hit ahead by Daly. Ibiaga trying to hold off the oncoming Alex Dixon. This game seemingly through 10 minutes hasn't found much of an offensive rhythm yet.
And rhythm on neither side, just back and forth, transition to transition. But when you watch both these teams play, I feel like the first 10 minutes is a little bit frenetic before they're able to find their footing.
The race is on for Forbes against Fink. Forbes, the jersey tug.
telling the referee it's going both ways. Arguing his case, saying Fink is also pulling on my jersey. Most defenders will put a body on Forbes. It's the only way to keep up with the pace.
Strepo a lot over to the ball. When we spoke this week with Jimmy Nielsen, he said we have to play tight to them. We have to make it difficult for them. But Tierpak and Forbes really do bring something to the wing that not many teams in this league possess.
Well, there's two ways to play against a team that has dynamic wingers or dynamic offensive players. You either sit back and you hope that your collective defending is so tight that they can't break it down, or you make them put their head down by applying such intense pressure. It makes them uncomfortable because sometimes they're not used to it because everyone pays them so much deference with respect in how they defend. Right now, we're getting to see a bit of both. They're letting San Antonio come at them, denying the space in behind, so nullifies Forbes' speed, and then try to make them play through them or beat them individually 1v1.
Well, Ajekwa tries to sneak behind. Kept it in. Tierpak spins off a Daly. Both appealing and belongs to the Energy.
You see Tierpak, a nice little battle with Daly, does a little spin move. Daly guesses correctly, able to get a little bit of a foot on it. But Tierpak is comfortable coming on the inside and outside, going in with his right or his left. It's going to be critical for all the OKC defenders to play honest defense and make sure you don't get too high on it because he can burn you down the line or he can burn you in center if you lay off.
Tierpak from nearby Dripping Springs, Texas. Coming over from Sporting KC at the Swope Park organization. As Tierpak goes down flying toward the end line. Can't draw the call there.
A little bit of help from Highland over here. Daly's retreating. A little bit of a body and a little simulation on Tierpak's end. He knew he took a bad touch, knew he wasn't going to catch up to it. So tried to get himself a nice little foul called.
Well, that's not the goal kick you're looking for. Ball back. The San Antonio FC side that they get out in transition when they're really at their best. We'll see whether or not they can break down this very stodgy OKC Energy defense. Jimmy Nielsen saying if we're going to turn the ball over, let's turn it over out wide, where it'll hurt a little bit less than an interior play. In this case, Forbes loses it. So he makes his cut in. Gonzalez runs into the referee. Wallace, with MLS experience in New York, most notably perhaps, having won the Supporter Shield there in 2015. Lengthy ball, flag up for offside. Sebastian Ibiaga. And by Castillo, turned over. And played to the wrong side. McCarthy will clean that up easily enough. Reed on the attack. Reed continuing on. He goes down, a whistle, and a foul conceded.
An excellent first touch into space. Reed does a little step over, gets a little bit too much Guzman with his pressure on the recovery. An excellent opportunity for San Antonio. It's too far out, I mean, it's too close. I don't think they're going to go for a little chip. It's going to be a straight up shot from either Castillo or Vega. And I think Reed's going to set it up with a little bit of a touch.
I'm sure there are some San Antonio fans right now who are asking why anyone but Rafa Castillo is standing over the ball, given his penchant for goals at this general position of the field. Meanwhile, Cody Lorendi, one of the great big save makers in the league. Could Castillo put it in play and Reed take this effort? Castillo. It's Reed. Off target.
A little bit deception on San Antonio's part, trying to see Lorendi on who's actually going to take it. Both players standing so close, he has less time to react. Tries to get up and over the wall, Reed does, but a little bit too much underneath it.
The best opportunity thus far for San Antonio comes in the 17th minute. They're a team that scored just 6 in the last 8 games, but 25 goals for this season ranks them in the top 10 in the United Soccer League. Started with 10 wins in their first 14 games in total. It was a great unbeaten run that came to a close against Colorado Springs on the road. Long ball over the top, handled by McCarthy, headed back toward Baril. Dixon ultimately came to Vega, but the foul from Castillo. Evan Vega, all of 18 years old, from the San Antonio area. Wasn't too long ago he was playing on the U17s with Christian Pulisic. Baril scoping out the options. Dixon does well to control it. Baril creating a bit of space, lining it up for Wallace. Takes a deflection, bounces wide. Restrepo nearly lost it over the end line. He's got it now.
We've seen Wallace in more defensive positions so far this season. We've seen him at center back. See him now plays at defensive mid, a little bit of a destroyer who's not afraid to go and be that linking player on the attack, get ahead of Guzman. We get to see the creativity of Baril. You get to see what he's able to do on the ball. Just a little bit of something different. Buys time, commits defenders, and frees up the center of the park for someone like Wallace to get an opportunity.
Well, there he is.
So that's the second one on Forbes for shirt pulling. Something to watch. He already has 1 yellow card this season. And if I'm OKC, I'm getting excited that I might be possibly getting in his head that he's starting to foul in order to get some sort of advantage.
Only 20 minutes in as Chris Tierpak leading the pack upfield. Dropped off to Vega. Touch through, finds Lorendi. Highland downshifts. Tierpak whistled for the foul. Both wingers right now, a couple complaints to the referee.
Absolutely, just calling things, they say, a little bit unfairly, but Tierpak does come in, gets a little bit too much of the body. Baril is not able to escape that challenge.
So the Energy have it 20 minutes into the match. They come off a game where they lost in penalties in a friendly to Pachuca. Gave a bit of hope to Jimmy Nielsen and his group. It felt like they played well in the match, especially in the first half. Highlands ball deflects off of Castillo. It's Dixon. One hopper Restrepo handles that easily. Hey fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast, Mondays 7 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check out uslsoccer.com for dates and times. Jimmy Nielsen and Greg Cochran on last week. Both looking forward to this one as Forbes lobs it ahead. It's the aforementioned Cochran.
It's a bit too predictable for San Antonio when they go forward. They need to find Adjankwa, find up there, let them hold up a little bit, and then spray it out wide or combine a little bit more centrally. That'll make their attack a little bit more unpredictable and harder to defend. It's a little bit route one. It's very easy for the goalkeeper, Lorenzi, to see and get his angles right and direct his defense and which way to push him, because they're not changing the angles at all at this moment.
Ibiaga keeps that out of harm's way. Especially with Oklahoma City playing so many players back. Is it almost difficult to see that ball when there's so many players in that half?
It is difficult, but it's part of it is Oklahoma City's putting 4 players on the front line.
Jaquet tried to put on a clinic.
Well, look at Ajayqua, right? All he has up top is Vega with him. Can they get some more numbers around it? That involves someone holding the ball a little bit, allowing them time to join.
Well done to create some space after McCarthy forced the turnover, and Forbes goes down. A yellow card comes. And San Antonio in prime real estate again.
Forbes with a ton of space in front of him has his head up, doesn't quite see the defender coming. When he does, he decides to push it wide and try to get around him. Sam Fink booked with the yellow card. We always say Reed took the first one, a little bit more central, went over the goal. Will Castillo set up his left foot?
Wouldn't be a bad option. Can that man stop it? Cody Lorendi. So good on the road in particular last year. Reed and Castillo take their paces. It'll be Castillo. He put it on target. A two-fisted punch away from Lorendi. Didn't have to work that hard. On the other hand, maybe could have had a catch there.
Well, I think he was a bit shocked. I think the ball was dipping a little bit. And rather be safe than sorry. You get to see a little punch out, but you see he put his hands up. He knows he should have caught that. He had more time than he thought he did. No one from OKC was rushing onto it, or I mean from San Antonio was rushing onto it to get that second chance.
Castillo a good step, and now Vega tags it outside. It's Sip Hedrick. Over Reed. Dixon for Burrill. Crossfield pass. Couldn't find Highland. Tierpak. Now Hedrick, who's over 100 games in his USL career, including 78 in an OKC Energy uniform, combined with Cody Andrews the last couple of years. One of the best center back duos in the Western Conference. Cochran getting by Dixon. Ran into Burrill. McCarthy into a dangerous spot. Wallace bodied up. And too far for Burrill. Tierpak has switched sides. Cochran. Cochran thought that gotten out previous. Instead, a throw for Oklahoma City Energy. Team that's not content in 11th place in the USL's Western Conference in the present moment. A win could put them right on the edge of playoff position nearing the midway point of the season for most every team in the league. Real pocket of space. A moment ago, you spoke to San Antonio maybe trying to find a way to be a little more creative on the offensive end and find a way to avoid being stagnant. What's Oklahoma City have to do right now to break through? Well, that was it. Dixon finds Dixon, plays it low. Ibeagha won it away. What was different there for the Energy? Their best buildup of the game.
Well, they caught Cochran, the left back from San Antonio, a little bit too high in that pocket of space, a little bit slow to recover, and was punished, almost finding Gonzalez. Dixon had his head up, trying to slot him through. They're going to have success in the wide areas because San Antonio likes to send their numbers forward, creating those pockets of space outside the center backs.
Good run from Miguel Gonzalez, who came over from Colorado Springs in the offseason to join his brother Daniel on this Energy side. For Burrill, his second corner of the match comes in the 29th minute. One out by Hedrick. Ibeagha was there as well. Dixon is able to get that by, and now swung into the box by Burrill. Castillo turned it over. Sliding in was Daly. Crossfield from Guzman. Now attacking the left, and Hedrick, the shot is off frame. Better from the Energy of late.
The difference is the amount of numbers they're getting forward in the attack. We see Dixon and Burrill have now changed. Dixon puts it onto his preferred right foot, does that separation touch, going outside to in. But just look at the sheer number of players in attack. They're occupying the center backs, drawing them back, creating those pockets of space for the midfield of OKC to operate in. You're not seeing that so much on the other end. A bit more transition, a bit more counterattack, turn and go.
There was the turn, and a pretty simple foul. Nothing cantankerous about it. Well, this is a much different place than the two previous free kicks that these two had to decide who would take which.
Imagine they're just going to dip it in behind the back line, trying to find Ibeagha.
So perhaps it'll be three they're looking for. There he is, Ibeagha! Crystal ball is out. Ibeagha, the shot, Lorendi, the save at the half-hour mark.
Castillo able to put a little backspin on the ball. He's going to dip right behind that back line. Nobody is marking from OKC. Ibeagha so close, but at that same time, by the time he got the ball, it was so wide. He didn't have much of an angle to get something on it, but Lorendi on the save.
He hasn't scored yet this year. Where'd you pull that from? Castillo right off the defender. Well, chance here for the Energy to come off to the races. Now the whistle will bring it back. It did get out. Really hot day in San Antonio, well over 90 degrees for much of the afternoon. Temperatures dipping with the sun going down, so no hydration break in this opening half. Jaqua dispossessed. He started the previous meeting between these two clubs a month ago. It was a 0-0 draw. Ali Hassan, primarily the link-up guy among their forwards, whereas you'll see a little more getting in behind from AJ Ajaqua. Forbes can certainly get behind a defense, not that time. But Castillo backstops for San Antonio. Well, San Antonio has found the other side. Ibiaga for Castillo, 37 years young. Ibiaga directing traffic. Behind for Vega. Vega did get the cross in. Ajaqua towards Forbes. The clearance spins out. Castillo flies into Dixon, and there's the whistle. Reed wanted to continue on.
At 18 years of age, Vega is the one player who is identifying those pockets of space and getting into them. Sometimes his timing is spot on, like we just saw there. Other times he reads it a little bit too late, but the quicker he's able to assess that, the more dynamic they're going to be in the attack and breaking down these two lines of four.
They play it over the top again. Lorendi there before Tierpak. 34th minute, a sellout crowd in San Antonio tonight. That's their second consecutive sellout. They faced Santos Laguna, Liga MX, in their last game, a friendly. And we go down to the sideline, more with Morgan Conklin. And there you see the supporters groups for the San Antonio side. The Armed Forces coming out as well tonight. San Antonio FC doing a specific deal for them. Over 8,000 tonight. One of the great stories right now in North American soccer. They're hosting Gold Cup play over the weekend, and they've sold a lot of tickets. Organization owned by Spurs Sports and Entertainment. Started last year in January, taking on one of the old guard of the USL in Oklahoma City, as Dixon has that fly out of play. So it's Richard Dixon, has some experience with the Jamaican national team. The flick on header, Ibiaga got that away in time. Ajaqua held up. Well, Fink will need to be a bit careful. He's already on a yellow card. Well, if you're San Antonio right now, how do you liven this game up?
Get the ball to that player right there, Vega. He's the only one that's reading the space in between the lines.
As Forbes tries to chip it. Played behind Dixon. Jimmy Nielsen was halfway up the touchline with the team.
But can San Antonio, who is an excellent transition counterattacking side, can they put some passes together? Can they combine a little bit? That'll buy time for the rest of the team to get forward and perhaps make those horizontal and vertical runs that can stretch defenses.
And Jimmy Nielsen said this is the best counterattacking team in the league, San Antonio FC. Right now, they're not allowing this San Antonio team to get out on the break. There's Daly, the former Sacramento man. Boril. Daly again. Daly in the USL with Bethlehem and Wilmington as well. Won the title with Preki in 2014 for that expansion Sacramento Republic side. Daly again. And up the line, Highland launching too far for Alex Dixon. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Vega. Richard Dixon arriving just in time.
That's much better from San Antonio. 2 or 3 passes, connection between the two midfielders, Castillo and Vega, and that let Cochran and Forbes get upfield, get wide, and they're able to stretch it a little bit. Part of the reason why OKC is having so much success is they get it wide really early, and they're stretching that back line and that midfield of San Antonio, so they're not able to put as much pressure on the ball.
Off of McCarthy, Dixon plays it ahead again. The step by McCarthy as the ball flies by. Cochran to Restrepo. A San Antonio side that's undefeated at home through 8 games. Well, the Monarchs have done better. Unbeaten and undrawn through 8 games. That ball flies away from Mickey Daly. Cyprian Hedrick stepping forward, missed the better part of a month, almost all of April with a lower body injury, the 2nd-round pick of Sporting Kansas City. Spent the last few seasons in the other side of this rivalry. Tierpak skying it into the air. Vega has it bounced by him. Cochran on the spin. Ajekwa pulling back, trying to make the run. Instead, Cochran serves the cross in for Tierpak. Reed came forward. Tierpak bulldozing through, and the foul.
A contentious challenge. Both players going shoulder to shoulder. Barilla just the first one to go down. I don't think the referee got that call right at all. They both were shoulder charging each other, trying to cut in front of the other person to get a better angle to the ball. And Tierpak, rightfully so, is angry. Because Barria was on the ground, he would have turned and gone to goal, or at least got a service off.
Well, Tierpak unable to do so there. He burst onto the scene at the end of last season en route to a Western Conference title.
He was fun to watch.
Yes, he was. Yeah. One of the bright spots for Swope Park in that game. New York Red Bulls 2 winning 5-1. Push through. Dixon got the cross. Slipping down was McCarthy. Defense cleared it away. Hedrick plays it back. Restrepo has come out. And that just stayed inside the penalty area as Highland slid it off.
Restrepo so comfortable with his feet, but at times a little bit too comfortable for me. But there, had he grabbed with his hands, it would have been a free kick for OKC, as it was considered a back pass, but a little bit. My heart was beating on that one a little bit.
In the 43rd minute. Maybe that'll break things open. Lorendi off of Dixon, played it away from Vega. Before Baril got there, Castillo, Ibiaga for Hedrick. Just 3 goals in 360 minutes between these two teams. The history of this rivalry, both coaches talking up the physicality, how organized the other is. It's very difficult to break them. When they do, it tends to be spectacular.
A little bit too rough of a challenge to start with from Gonzalez. Every right to be angry and annoyed. And the thing is, there was no reason for Gonzalez to go in that hard. He had a supporting defender right in behind him. Could have held him up, made him go backwards, and that is defending. That's doing your job. Now it's another opportunity to find Ibiaga and McCarthy.
There's Ibiaga getting behind. Ibiaga spearing it down. Dixon reversing field. Well, one header by Alex Dixon. It's a great atmosphere for Santos Laguna last time out. We asked Darren Powell about it. And he said, well, the atmosphere wasn't so great for my hotel room in Nashville. Was off working on that coaching license, yeah.
It was an exciting night all around.
Yes, it was. 1 minute of added time. This vaunted San Antonio fan base waiting for something to get excited about. Tierpak for Ajayqua. Andrews the initial defense, and Ajayqua really showing off that frustration. Neither offense really able to muster much up in this opening half. Dixon dispossessed. Swinging legs out, Vega doesn't get the call.
Right now, too much of the game is being controlled by the referee. There's no rhythm. There's a foul every 2 or 3 minutes. Got to let him play a little bit.
Cochran, the header out. One more chance here for Oklahoma City Energy to come up with something in the first half. It won't be the case as the referee stops play for halftime. Well, it's been a bit of an offensive struggle for both sides. You knew they'd be defensively stodgy. It sure was the case, wasn't it?
Well, 0-0 first game. We knew both teams would put a lot of numbers in behind the ball, but I think OKC is doing a better job getting numbers forward in the attack, which is the reason why I think they're able to create a little bit and be a bit more unpredictable when going forward.
Diego Restrepo on his way off for the San Antonio side. We send it down to Morgan Conklin standing by on the touchline.
Coach, you talked about the importance of collective team defending, and you also wanted to attack these wide spaces. You guys had a lot of success up this left wing. What do you think of that first half?
Yeah, no, I think Oklahoma set themselves up slightly different than a couple of previous games. So there's not as much space, especially in their half, as we'd like. So we've got to tweak a few things and try and get some other players on the ball. But the wide areas, like you've noticed, is a space we'd like to exploit.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, Morgan. Halftime. As San Antonio and Oklahoma City unable to come away with a goal. Some good free kick opportunities for San Antonio. Could not convert. Ibeagha the best chance of the first half. We have highlights and stats from the opening 45 when we come back.
The cameras look good. Coming back, it'll be crowd and score followed by highlights.
Does my talkback work, or?
Mike, you can hear me here? I can hear you on talkback. Your mic's not tracked. I'm sorry. No on camera here.
Ibeagha.
Crowd, highlights, stats, score, break.
I don't know why we're doing
1 minute back.
Twitter says we suck. I'm kidding, I didn't look.
30 seconds.
What were you gonna, like, what do you even have to say?
Beauty shot with score, highlights, stats, and then toss back to break.
Who had more control?
15.
San Antonio, OKC, or the Raptors?
8, 7, 6, 5.
You could try to buy a ticket tonight. You wouldn't be able to find one on Ticketmaster. Halftime between San Antonio and Oklahoma City Energy. Some fans off to the concession stands as we reach halftime. Mike Watts and Kate Mark Graff back with you. How about we take a look at the halftime highlights? And neither team really found offensive rhythm in this first half.
No, I wouldn't say either team gained control of the game, but they both had their opportunities. A little bit of a mix-up between the two defenders and Forbes with an opportunity. Just misses it completely. Why do you get to see Reed with an opportunity? We thought Castillo might take it. He has scored from that distance, just up and over.
Oklahoma City finally getting forward midway through the opening half. We saw Dixon prove to be electric at times.
First he started on the right, trying to create opportunities down the wing. That one we get to see him cut in from the left-hand side with his right foot. And we can see Ibiaga finding Castillo and just missed. A nice little dip ball, but wasn't much of an angle. But you get to see the dismay Restrepo has for the referee, as we saw the referee insert his influence on the game and it grow as the game went on.
Yeah, a bit disappointing both sides they felt with the officiating. Here are the halftime statistics. San Antonio wins the possession, but that's not a good thing when you're a team that wants to counterattack.
Well, absolutely. And where are they possessing the ball? They're not possessing it in the opponent's half. They're mostly doing it in setup play from the back, trying to find the ball out wide. Can they get more numbers in the central channels so they can ping it around a little bit, because there's no space in behind to launch? What they want to do is just get into that dangerous counterattack position behind the back line of OKC.
Oklahoma City trying to find a win on the road. San Antonio undefeated in the first 14, struggling of late. A look around the league when we come back.
Okay, Kate, here's the halftime feature that you're going to toss to.
The opening half of the 2017 USL regular season has seen two teams emerge at the top of the Western Conference, with Real Monarchs SLC and San Antonio FC engaged in a duel for conference supremacy and potentially the USL regular season championship. San Antonio broke out first, putting together a 14 shutout streak to start the season. But the Monarchs' USL record 9-game winning streak, led by Sebastian Velasquez, has moved Real's new-look squad into the top spot as a showdown at Toyota Field on July 22nd closes in. The top of the Eastern Conference has also seen a
Joking. 1 minute.
If this ends 0-0, I told Tom like 3 minutes in the first 360 minutes between these two teams. It ain't going to change.
To you, Kate. Just like that around the league in the first half. 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to a packed house at Toyota Field. It's 0-0 San Antonio versus OKC Energy. Here's the best plays from the first half of the season.
The opening half of the 2017 USL regular season has seen two teams emerge at the top of the Western Conference, with Real Monarchs SLC and San Antonio FC engaged in a duel for conference supremacy and potentially the USL regular season championship. San Antonio broke out first, putting together a 14-game undefeated streak, which included a 672-minute shutout streak to start the season. But the Monarchs' USL record 9-game winning streak, led by Sebastian Velasquez, has moved Real's new-look squad into the top spot as a showdown at Toyota Field on July 22nd closes in. The top of the Eastern Conference has also seen a clearly defined top two, including Louisville City FC, a finalist in the Eastern Conference final the past two seasons, pushing for another high finish in the standings. City's hard-driving attacking group, led by Brian Ownby, Niall McCabe, and Cameron Lancaster, has thrilled packed houses at Slugger Field so far this season. But leading the pack is the Charleston Battery, whose 25th anniversary season features an attack that more than lives up to the club's cannon-bearing crest. Led by Romario Williams, the Battery lead the USL in goals, with the likes of Forrest Lasso, Justin Portillo, and Atula Guerra providing a strong supporting cast at MUSC Health Stadium. Williams' success has placed him in a duel with Reno 1868 FC's Dane Kelly in the race for the USL Golden Boot, the two Jamaicans producing some highlight reel finishes on their way to double-digit goals before the end of the first half of the season. Kelly's run of scoring in 6 straight games helped expansion side 1868 FC up the Western Conference standings. Currently well positioned to take its place in the USL Cup playoffs, Reno follows in the footsteps of the likes of FC Cincinnati in 2016, Louisville City FC in 2015, and Sacramento Republic FC in 2014 in finding immediate success on and off the field. Poised to join that group in 2018 is Nashville SC, which has already built an impressive front office and hired former MLS Cup winner Gary Smith as the first head coach in the club's USL history. With more expansion news expected in coming weeks, the conclusion of the 2017 season not only provides more on-field highlights to thrill fans, but also set the course for the USL into the next decade as it continues to raise the bar across the board.
Copy that. No coach yet, so we're probably coming to you first and then toss down to Morgan. Still waiting. Yes, you can, just depending on whether Morgan has coached. 1 minute back. Still no coach. Coming right now, coming back with you. Comment on the first half, standings, and then toss down to Morgan. Coach, coming back with you, common first half. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
It's a family affair in San Antonio's supporters section. Back to Toyota Field. Halftime between Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the United Soccer League game of the week. Welcome back upstairs. Mike Watts alongside Kate Mark Graff. Glad to have you with us. And we'll have Morgan Conklin along in a moment. This first half, neither team really found the offensive continuity they were looking for Oklahoma City. They're just trying to find any continuity at all right now.
Well, absolutely. But San Antonio, you saw the coach talk about it, is that they lost the chess match. They came out, Oklahoma City came out a bit different. San Antonio did not quite know how to prepare for it. They had one game plan, didn't work because the numbers were different on the other side. So it's going to be fascinating to watch the second half, see the changes that both teams make, and try to react to one another. I think the second half will be completely different than the first.
We can sure hope so. How about we take a look at the standings while we have a moment? And in the Western Conference, these teams in different positions on the table. As Real Monarchs in first, San Antonio in second, and just beneath the bottom of these standings, Oklahoma City Energy. They've been a playoff team the last 3 years. Their head coach is Jimmy Nielsen. He stands by with Morgan Conklin.
Coach, you knew they were going to be good in transition. You wanted to limit your mistakes on the ball. What does this team have to do to get a result tonight?
I think first of all, we're defending really well. We just got to attack faster. We're a little too slow in transition, and we got a better decision. We need more quality on the ball. Get in behind them. Don't let them get behind the ball. We're slowing down the game a little bit too much when we're on the ball. We got to attack with more speed.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you, Morgan. As the teams have returned to the field, this San Antonio side had such a dynamic offensive start to the year, and you can't help but think about the players that are missing right now. In particular, Cesar Elizondo, who's available in the 18 for the first time in a while. Not quite sure if we're going to see him yet tonight as he comes back from a lower body injury. There's Devin Vega, the 18-year-old who's really impressed in the early going, the official who's made his mark felt in this game thus far. We'll see if it opens up more in this second half of play as San Antonio and Oklahoma City kick off with 3 points still up for grabs. And right off the bat, Jaquan driving. Vega attacking Highland.
Vega continuing where he left off from the first half, finding the pocket of space that usually Tierpak is inhabiting and able to create something. You saw Tierpak trying to run in behind. That was well defended by OKC. A little bit of body, a little bit bigger presence against the 18-year-old.
Cody Lorendi drives it away. Off the head of Ibiaga. Dixon. Gonzalez drops it back. Wallace. Wallace serves the ball in, and Ibiaga got there first. Wallace whips it ahead. Gonzalez took contact from behind. Wallace won the ball. Play continues. Driven outside and slipped to the top of the box. Reed turned over, came to Highland. A totally different look from OKC Energy to start this second half. Dixon, Cochran sliding in. And a corner for the hard work for Oklahoma City Energy. A great first 2 minutes.
Exciting a little bit end-to-end. Both teams getting numbers forward. Barril is so good with his service. Just put such nice texture on the ball. Easy to get onto it.
The 25-year-old Spanish player lining up. High arcing ball this time from Barril. Headed back across by Gonzalez. Daly snaps the header. Tierpak drives it out. Dixon from distance. Locked on the way in. And now, can we finally see the transition game of San Antonio? Into space for Forbes. Ajekwa running down the center. Cutting it back. It's Tierpak. We'll find that somewhere in the parking lot.
Can anyone keep up with Forbes? Forbes' head is up. Knew he was going to get hit at one time. I love Tierpak's delayed run. And Forbes, the weight he puts on the ball, I think that is just the biggest difference between players that play in the second league and players who make it to the MLS. Are the ones, is the type of service you give to one another. Can you make the person successful? Tierpak just too much momentum when he was approaching the ball, even though it's perfectly weighted.
Perfectly weighted, and that whole attack had the right feel to it. Finally, San Antonio found a little bit of space with OKC getting forward.
Well, OKC's getting forward because it was a set piece. And they were able to seal the set piece in and be there for the reservice. But once they lost that second opportunity, they didn't get enough numbers back. They did not have enough cover. Too many people went forward.
For OKC, is that a cautionary tale that it can happen that fast with San Antonio?
Absolutely. I think Dixon, remember, he was the one that got that second reservice. He was able to serve it back in. He's usually that covering defender back there with Daly. He just got sucked into play.
Ajekwa, what a great move. Flag is up for offside. Really, Forbes had gotten in behind. Ajekwa moves like Jagger there. So Lorendi drives it away, 50th minute. Gonzalez running through. McCarthy for Reed. Captain's armband tonight. A native of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ball for Forbes. Cutting back, Guzman took it away. Former Louisville City man. And now Dixon. Touch ahead, trying to put the pressure on McCarthy. He goes all the way around him to take it back. Winds it to the top of the box. Barril, first touch, lets him down. Drives the end line. Swivels his head back around. Wallace. Space now for Kyle Highland. Against his former defensive running mate. Hedrick won that battle. Highland, 26 years old, the first player out of IUPUI to sign an MLS contract. It was with the Crew. Highland, the throw. Restrepo was there. Restrepo serves a nice ball forward to Vega. Ajekwa running forward, setting up space for Forbes. Forbes shoots, he scores! Just like that, the best transition team in the USL strikes. It's Billy Forbes, his first goal since April 29th.
OKC sending too many numbers forward, not prepared to cover on the defensive end in case there was a transition moment, and they pay for it with the speed of the attack of Forbes. Vega able to find Forbes. Forbes, a little inside-outside touch, beats Lorendi, coming out with a little bit of a dip. Lorendi coming up and just going straight for the ball. But look at this, that long touch. Lorendi did not think Forbes was gonna be quick enough to get to it, but this man has electrifying pace, able to do a little dip over him. And on the transition play, OKC gets burned.
A little bit of a late proposal present for Billy Forbes, who on the field after that most recent game against Santos Laguna, posing to his girlfriend. And now he's finally broken through what was a 2-month-long drought. A Jaquwa for Vega, he's well behind. Well, Devin Vega was the player who helped to set that up.
Well, he's more involved in the attack. We talked about in the first half. We get to see the proposal from Forbes. Thankfully, I think he had a good idea that his girlfriend was going to say yes.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's precisely what we heard from the coach after the fact. He wasn't there, but Darren Powell said, thankfully, it was a yes. Greg Cochran saying this week that he didn't know, but someone on the team told him he might want to stick around postgame. Oh, he's finally bagged a goal. Well, now the impetus firmly on Oklahoma City to get forward, isn't it?
Now they'll have to get more of their numbers up a little bit, but that's what they have been doing, and they got burned from it. So the question is, can the attack come more from their midfield and their attacking set instead of their outside backs bouncing forward? That's leaving them vulnerable to the counter, and we've seen on 2 occasions, one in which San Antonio was able to capitalize on, that they just cannot do that.
Ball into the box. It's won by McCarthy. And turned over to Burrill. He did get the cross in. Highland still coming. Taps it across, a bouncer that Restrepo controls. We talked about the penchant for Highland to get forward into a midfield position tonight, though primarily an outside back. Vega for a Jaquwa. Lorendi got there first.
But I really think it's the changes that head coach Darren Powell made with San Antonio. They put Vega higher up, almost as a wide forward, and that has stretched this back line of OKC. And right now, they cannot get their chemistry and their linkage and that zonal defending down like they had in the first half.
Tierpak, Reed. Jaquwa knocked down by Daly. Showing off a little bit there. Castillo drives it all the way to Lorendi. The target was Hedrick. Guzman. Highland. Across the grain. Gonzalez plays it back. Highland's got targets. Off of Ibeagha. Guzman stepping forward. Wallace now. Wallace over the top. To Guzman again. There's a pocket of space there for Burrill. Daly. Highland. Alex Dixon, so good one-on-one. Richard Dixon there rather. Won by Cochran. Stays with San Antonio, the black and white Kids. Cody Andrews, guilty of the foul on Castillo. Too far, leading pass for Cyprian Hedrick. Could have been a bit of space there for Baril. Instead, back for Restrepo. 10 shutouts on the year for a San Antonio team that's been missing key defensive pieces at times, particularly in goal. Just 7 goals allowed this year. That's best in the league. Restrepo, a big reason why. Coming on for Matt Cardoni. Lee Johnston has been good as well. What a great pass off by Forbes. Dixon nearly lost it at Jaquan. Through the legs of Tierpak. Trying to stretch out Cochran. It's Gonzalez tagging it off, ball across, looking for Highland. It was spilled but handled by Restrepo.
OKC using the width. Dixon floating it in. Highland able to get in between the pocket of Tierpak and Hedrick. Restrepo gives up a little bit of a rebound, but he came up big, kept his eye on the ball, but does not get punished for not catching it. But look what happens when OKC uses the width. That's something now with San Antonio with the 1-0 lead. When you look at that back line as they're retreating, they're getting 5 players back there instead of the traditional 4. So they're going to need to use the width and then either sit right in front of them and cut the ball back or find the little seams like we just saw Highland do.
Stretch pass back out for Castillo. Vega. Turned away by Guzman. Hedrick getting forward. Vega lost the handle. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world. It features some of the game's top talent and its rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com or follow them on Twitter at USL. If you missed the goal in the 52nd minute, Billy Forbes scoring for San Antonio. Surely that highlight is on the USL Twitter. Cody Andrews circling back. OKC Energy side that made a ton of changes over the course of the last 6 to 12 months. Michael Thomas, Michael Busco, Jiva Cuevas. You just look at all the names that left. Sebastian Dalgard, such an important winger for them. Danny Koenig traded to Cincinnati in the blockbuster trade of the year. Jimmy Nielsen shuffling the deck a little bit after some playoff disappointment. Team that has one of the best resumes in the league over the course of the last 3 seasons, but no conference championship to show for it. Koenig scoring 21 goals in 2015, down to 4. His final 24 games with the Energy. Shipped off to Cincinnati. His play will come back, foul on Guzman.
One of those 50-50 battles. The players don't think they deserve the foul. And Guzman just comes up big. Yes, he kept his body there, but I also think that he got ran into. I wouldn't give that. I just think you need to let him play a little bit. Don't let the referee be that big of an influence in the game.
Through ball for Jakwa. And out comes Lorendi. Spoken like a true defender. Let him play. That's Kate Markgraf. I'm Mike Watts. Morgan Conklin, another defender. I'm surrounded by them down on the touchline this evening from Toyota Field in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio side that is as difficult to score on as any team in the United Soccer League.
What a huge boost of confidence for OKC if they're able to score on a side like San Antonio.
Forbes turns over the ball. He's got it back. Castillo. Rendy dives on top.
Forbes growing into this game, especially in the second half. And we get to see him draw 2 defenders with them. Buys time for Castillo to join the attack. Doesn't get enough bend on the ball. He's trying to bend it around Lorendi.
That's Gonzalez. Through ball. Couldn't spring the elusive Dixon. Gonzalez, a guy who can pull the string and a guy who can score. A reminder that today's match plays an important role in the close partnership between Major League Soccer and the USL. It tests the use of a video assistant referee, or VAR. VAR implemented during key match-changing situations and serious missed incidents on the field of play. For more information on VAR, USLsoccer.com. Of course, we've seen it in Confederations Cup at the FIFA level, not being used in CONCACAF Gold Cup at the present moment. Long ball over the top. The flag was up. Restrepo, an interesting story. He came in as the #3 goalkeeper for San Antonio. They didn't really have a lot of talks with him, but Darren Powell said he quickly realized through their short conversations that the goalkeeper was a guy to keep an eye on. As Forbes breaking through. Forbes still on the move. He got the cross in for Jakwa. Daly popped it up. Jakwa trying to turn his man. Dixon clears upfield. Ibiaga. Daly trying to test McCarthy. Castillo. Down now for Wallace. Wallace looking for Highland. Nearing the touchline. Lays it off for Gonzalez. Gonzalez takes the shot. The save by Restrepo.
Restrepo wants more pressure from his defenders getting on the ball. We get to see Gonzalez with too much time, not getting closed down by Reed. Reed's not sure if he's going to go end line. Should have actually put pressure on him as he had that covering defender. With a little bit more power behind that ball, it would have tested Restrepo much more and had a better probability possibly going in the back of the net and tying this game.
Gonzalez, a guy with just 1 goal this year, and it was a bicycle kick. There he is again. Gonzalez off the carom. Dixon. Wallace trying to switch the field again. This time Tierpak comes away. And it's off to the bench, and the USL debut for Oklahoma City. It's the former league MVP, Jose Angulo, who came over on loan from St. Louis, and enough for Sam Fink. Very offensive-minded move to try and jumpstart this OKC side.
Yeah, Fink gets to start in, trying to bring a bit more defensive mentality. But OKC trying to at least draw out a point, get something back. And Angulo, watch his left foot. So talented. Get to see him right now. Enjoys those 1v1 battles. Coach was saying how much he loves his decision-making, though. He knows when to play players in, and he said he's an old-time natural goal scorer and that he finishes all the easy goals.
Ball
which I
off
thought
the
was
crossbar.
interesting.
Right.
I thought it was an interesting comment. But I get what he's saying, because we've all seen the ball bounce on like the 2-yard line and someone just whip it all the way over the net. And he's saying Angulo doesn't do that. He puts all the ones that should be put away, he does.
Angulo, a guy who a couple of years ago tied Dom Dwyer for the scoring league, ended up taking the league Golden Boot. Dom Dwyer, of course, played at Sporting Kansas City, but before that, Orlando City at the USL level. Jimmy Nielsen calling it just a beautiful story. Real motivation for players at every level, what Dom Dwyer's done with the U.S. national team of late. Just the latest in a long string of stars that have come through the USL path to pro. Baril floating it up. Restrepo got a punch to it. Daly kept it in play. Second bite at the apple. The ball lined off of Alex Dixon. You talk about path to pro, and even think about the guys who have made a big impact in the U.S. Open Cup. FC Cincinnati as a team still waiting to play their quarterfinal bout, try and earn a spot in the semifinal. They would host at Nippert Stadium if they got past Miami.
How incredible would that be?
Against New York Red Bulls, who have been playing with former USL goalkeeper Ryan Mara, the former man out of Fordham. Here's Tierpak. Ball caroms out in front, and Lorendi got there before Ajekwa.
Tierpak with a sweet little spin move, beats Highland. It is aided by a deflection. Ajekwa almost gets onto it. I love that he kept his run going. Wasn't quite sure if he was going to get there, but he kept going, and it did almost bounce his way. Lorendi able to hold on to it. But the game is starting to open up a little bit more, so you're going to see both teams foul a little bit on those transition moments in order to stop the counterattacks.
Well, Rafa Castillo took the hand to the face. He'll take the impending free kick. From the best seat in the house on ESPNU, SiriusXM FC, United Soccer League Game of the Week action, San Antonio and Oklahoma City. Billy Forbes showing off that goal-scoring acumen that got him 6 goals in the bag in the first month and a half of the season before a massive slowdown. Off to the bench for the first time goes Darren Powell. Victor Araujo comes on bench for last 4, but finally returning from a lengthy time off.
He'll be able to hold the ball and bring other players in. So that means he's the outlet. So every time the ball gets launched long in order to relieve some pressure, bypass the midfield, to be able to hold on to it. Not only allow time for his teammates to join the attack, but also to wind down some of those seconds on the clock. But if I'm OKC, where's Baril this second half? He was so important in the first half, pulling the strings really in midfield from wherever he wants. He has the freedom to go. But right now we see him sitting in the center of the park, not really demanding the ball. And every time he does go for it, his team bypasses him and hits it out wide. Get to the guy that got you there, that gave you the chance in the first half.
Here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez putting Cochran on skates. Pulled the trigger on the cross. Now the ball lined in. There he is, Baril. Back now for Highland. Swings it over top of the box, and a heavy foul as Ibiaga goes down. Jose Angulo.
A little bit of challenge in the middle. Ibiaga doesn't look that bad at first, but Angulo with the elbow.
74th minute, 1-0 San Antonio. Down to the third member of our crew, Morgan Conklin.
Mike, when that substitution was made, Jimmy Nielsen looked at his team, said we're going 4-4-2. They brought in Angulo to play up high with Gonzalez. They're entering about that time where San Antonio really has some success towards the end of the game. They're going to have 4 in the midfield now, 2 up top as they're chasing the game.
Thank you, Morgan. And if you think about it, Kate, we spoke this week with Jimmy Nielsen, and he said really Alex Dixon isn't a lone striker by nature, but the injuries to Vucic, who's really become a bit of a star for this team, and Danny Koenig out of the equation. Andy Craven injured in warm-ups last game. They're going to need Angulo to put in a good effort here.
They do. They need him to also hold up the ball and kind of free Dixon to what he's good at, which is being isolated 1v1 with players. Right now he's drawing 2 players with him, and he doesn't have a lot of options because he's farther away from goal. Can he do that, and can he draw more numbers in the attack?
OKC trying to get forward now. Wallace pushing across the half-field line. On the ground to Gonzalez. Tierpak took it away. Not for long. Wallace. Here's Highland again. Isolating on Hedrick. Cross-field pass through the box. Kept by Daly. Here's Richard Dixon. And Dixon he's looking around looking for a corner kick.
I thought it was a corner kick as well.
Mm-hmm. Penultimate sub for Oklahoma City. They go to the bench, and Luis Martinez. For Juan Pablo Guzman, another guy in the middle of the field who hadn't really seen much action in the second half.
A little bit of fresh legs coming in, being inserted in the midfield with Martinez. Excellent on the ball, able to play in those little gaps and be able to create opportunities with limited space.
Castillo stepping in, Vega springing Forbes.
Vega again, look at the ball bending away from Daly straight into Forbes' pass.
Ball belongs to Cochran. Spoke to us this week. They missed the playoffs on the last day of the season against Rio Grande Valley last year. Anytime you go into the offseason with that chip on your shoulder, it's that feeling that A, you could have done more last year, and B, you can do a lot more next year.
Well, especially with where they started. They were a first-year team last year. No one expected them to be that close to possibly being in that situation. An excellent start so far in the first half. But the big thing for me as you watch them is San Antonio's ability to adapt. They didn't play well in the first half. They made some changes at halftime, different mentality, different way of lining up. Vega, I think, is just a game changer in how he reads the game and able to find Forbes, who is a difference maker and can put it away.
Tack on for the Energy now. Driving the end line, it's a low cross all the way across the face of goal.
But the Energy weren't able to do that with their starting lineup in that second half. So they made some changes, and they're hoping that these fresh legs can bring something different. And it's a hot night out there. When the game started, half the field was in the shade, the other half wasn't. Temperatures in the 90s. These players are tired and fatigued. We're starting to see that. We saw Alex Dixon from OKC stretching at about the 60th minute mark. And now we're seeing the San Antonio player doing the same.
McCarthy getting stretched out for Oklahoma City. You think about their past offensive success, and you think about the strikers they've had. Danny Koenig, 21 goals in 2015, an MVP finalist, second for the Golden Boot. Koenig and Wojciech were the guys last year, but they only combined for 8 goals as the team struggled down the stretch, made the playoffs, beat Vancouver, but fell in the second round. Moving forward, Koenig traded FC Cincinnati, 4 goals in 5 matches to start, including a couple of game-winning goals, including one with a bandage on his forehead, traded May 10th. And you think about their most recent moves. They bring in Craven, who they had at the end of last season. 1-for-1 deal with Koenig, scored 4 goals, including 3 from the penalty spot. And now it's both Dixon and Angulo who are asked to pick up the mantle at the present moment. His USL debut for the Energy tonight for Jose Angulo after being acquired on loan.
Well, that's part of experience, maturity, and adaptability that you must learn as a pro, especially as a pro in the second division trying to make your way up. Sometimes circumstances aren't great for you, but you have to carve out your own luck. And a little bit of OKC, they get ready and they play with one type of forward, like Wojciech is a big target forward, and then he goes down with a broken elbow. So now they have to change the way that they play. And Craven, you know, is that lone striker, just kind of that annoying little gnat that always gets under that ball and always able to create something over those half chances. And because of that, he always made the defense wary and kept them honest and kept them pushed back, allowing more space for the midfield for OKC to operate in the opponent's half. So every single game, it seems like they're having to change the way they play.
McCarthy looks like he's done. 81st minute. San Antonio a 1-goal lead over Oklahoma City. And Billy Forbes scored the goal in the 52nd minute as he was able to swing one by early, firing it in the net past Lorendi in the 52nd minute.
That's a little dip over Lorendi. Lorendi coming out hard. And Forbes able to use Lorendi's momentum against him and does a little dink over him.
Daly got that to Angulo. Nice first touch. Even better around Ibeagha. Cuts it back for Wallace. Wallace, it bounces high in the air. It's poked over by Restrepo. Excellent work from Diego Restrepo.
Now Restrepo coming up big. Wallace with the big touch. Oh, I think OKC, that was a handball, and that was a handball in the box that I think the referee missed. The referee probably thought it was just by accident, but the player was falling down and it hits his arm on the path to the goal. Restrepo was able to recover, but I can see why OKC, especially Wallace, was showing and gesturing to the ref like, are you kidding me? Will you please call that?
Zhang on for Stephen McCarthy. This is a VAR match too.
I know.
That's available.
I know.
Jose Carlos Rivero, where are you? He's the 5th official tonight.
And look at, he's talking in his ear right now. The center ref, he's getting.
All eyes on whether or not we see him create the little box with his fingers.
So this is smart from OKC. They were a little bit slow to go out for the corner kick, which bought time for the referees to start talking.
Now Restrepo walking around. It's a little too loud for this poor referee. Caleb Mendez.
I think that's a penalty kick, hands down. That is a penalty kick. It was on the route.
There it is, VAR.
So the referee is going to review and working with the fifth official. It has to be conclusive in order to overturn the call on the field.
VAR is implemented during key match-changing situations and serious missed incidents on the field. In this case, a potential handball. Another look.
Excellent little footwork from Angulo, finding Wallace. Now it's right here that you see it. Going down hard, hits the arm.
And after further review, they point to the spot after VAR proves it was indeed a handball. Oklahoma City will have a chance, the 84th going on the 85th, to equalize from the spot.
And it was Hedrick. It was his arm that hit off after he was diving down trying to block the shot. It was inadvertent, but his arm was in an unnatural position. Hence, the referee called it.
Well, typically we see Andy Craven take these, but Craven not available tonight. It's Cody Andrews. The center back will try and level the score against Restrepo. Andrews off the crossbar, turning from Wallace, headed back out. The follow-up shot is wide.
Restrepo trying to get his team to focus on the immediate play and not just the one that happened. Trying to organize this team to defend a corner kick.
And on the ensuing corner, Daly the target. Cleared out to Dixon. Tierpak. Now for an Oklahoma City throw. Wallace. Biaga clears. Pushed ahead to Forbes.
Cody Andrews lines up for the penalty kick. Hits off the crossbar. We have another look at it to see whether or not Restrepo's able to get anything on it, which I don't think he did, and not able to get on the rebound. We talked to the coach, Nielsen. He says about executing the chances and the opportunities when they happen. And that was a huge miss. This OKC team.
We've talked about all the goals that they've given up that's lost them points late. Sometimes you don't score them. Martinez slid out. Forbes. Three of these games have ended in draws. The meetings between these two teams. San Antonio has never beaten the Energy. Could come tonight. Those fans certainly looking forward to the opportunity. In this, their 9th home game of the year. Over the top. Vega. Kicked away, back to Lorendi. They're looking initially, a few of the players, for a potential back pass. Baril. Does he have a little late magic in him? It's been quiet. On the ground for Gonzalez. Daly. Diving header. Mibiaga. Wallace slicing the ball toward the back line. Cyprian Hedrick remains down. They'll attend to Hedrick. Be a fair amount of stoppage time here. A couple of injuries. Former teammate checking on him.
Hedrick going up for the ball. You don't know if he lands awkwardly, if it's from that initial aerial challenge. They're doing the concussion test.
Hedrick, who's missed some time this year. Jimmy Nielsen and Darren Powell both getting their words in with the fourth official. Hedrick's back to his feet. Into the 90th minute. Well, San Antonio in front of another sold-out crowd at Toyota Field. Like they're back to their winning ways. Oklahoma City will look to draw one back. They had their chance at the penalty spot less than 10 minutes ago as we go into stoppage time. Maxi Rodriguez, the 21-year-old from San Antonio, sets to check on.
A little bit of gamesmanship right now. Let the clock run down a little bit with some substitution. Also get some players some much needed minutes in lowered pressured situations.
Really nice game as one San Antonio native gives way to another.
Vega's incredible. His vision is incredible to me. Like just his ability to find those pockets of space, either play central or get out wide, drawing defenders, but more importantly, creating opportunities with movements that are 6 and 7 passes ahead of what's actually going on. He just reads the play so well.
So Rodriguez has come on, 5 minutes of added time. The ball hasn't been in play for a minute of that as the ball lined all the way through the penalty area and out. Dribbler back to Daly. Booted ahead for Forbes. Pushing it, Dixon. Oklahoma City, will they rue one mistake tonight? One counter from San Antonio. One goal, was it enough? Off Hedrick. Zhang. Ball for Tierpak, taken away, and now running over past Martinez. Zhang.
There weren't a lot of chances. These two sides always play each other very tight. But when it came down to execution, San Antonio was able to put away their one chance. And OKC with a better chance with the PK, not able to convert it.
Cody Andrews off the crossbar. Over Cochran. Attack on for the Energy. Going one-on-one. The cross is in. Martinez, the save by Restrepo. Knocked off the crossbar. The follow-up is in. Martinez has scored. No, it's Gonzalez who dives into the corner with the Energy's goal in stoppage time. There will not be an 11th win. Not going to be an 11th shutout tonight for San Antonio.
Well, just a bunch of players in the box. Ibeagha trying to clear it up over his own net, instead hits it off the crossbar, rebounds perfectly to Gonzalez. 1-1 was not the easiest opportunity to convert on, but Gonzalez in the right place in the right time, sitting in between two defenders. Able to tie this game up 1-1.
His second goal of the year could not come at a more opportune time. All the trainers having words now.
I've never seen that in my entire life.
Not once.
Ever. But Wallace was getting treatment. The referees asked him, if the trainer comes out, you have to leave the field and then get brought back on.
Well, San Antonio, last gasp perhaps. They take 2 points back. This could be a turning point. This Oklahoma City side, if they can hold on. Castillo. Castillo surrounded by green shirts. Ripping at 2 jerseys.
Castillo with 3 players around him, somehow ends up on it because he pushes 2 of the players out of the way, but Real not happy with that. And again, more gamesmanship with the substitutions.
Daniel Gonzalez coming on. Of course, gamesmanship of another ilk. Now it's coming from Oklahoma City.
That's smart.
You're trying to escape with your point now.
It's smart. It's part of the game. It's up to the center referee to add the minutes to compensate for the time wasting.
Enough for Alex Dixon. Miguel Gonzalez scoring in stoppage time. Erasing the goal that Billy Forbes had put on the board in the 52nd, the go-ahead goal. Hedrick, Gonzalez. Miguel Gonzalez turns it wide. And now the cross is in. Headed away by Ibeagha full time. Oklahoma City steals a point away in stoppage time, and no, not over yet. We're still going in the 90+8th. And now full time. Oklahoma City finds a way to get a point. He missed a penalty in the final 10 minutes, but Miguel Gonzalez drawing the energy level on the road.
A valuable point on the road for OKC, who honestly in the second half did not really play that well until all those substitutions came in and changed the look of it going forward.
Now down to the field, it's Jimmy Nielsen with Morgan Conklin.
Coach, your guys fought tonight, missed that PK opportunity, but tonight you find yourselves on the other end of a late goal. How important was that result?
I think it's we showed a big heart today. We battled extremely hard. It was not always the prettiest, but the guys deserve a lot of credit for the effort in there today. We battled hard. Yes, it could have been better. The quality on the ball could have a little bit better. But in the end of the day, we battled through 90-plus minutes and got a well-deserved point in the end.
And that's something to take away. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Mike?
Miguel Gonzalez coming away with the goal. Billy Forbes scoring first in the 52nd minute, his first goal in the better part of 2 months. And then Gonzalez drawing level. We wrap it up when we come back.
You guys are already getting set for camera. Coming back, we'll just come back with the score. You guys can do a general comment about the game. Obviously, talk about OKC coming away with a point at the end, and then it'll be roll out and off air. One minute back. We'll come back with Gonzalez walking off. 45. Seconds. Off at the end, Mike, you'll be tossing to College Football Live.
Full time in the United Soccer League Game of the Week. There's your hero, Miguel Gonzalez, scoring in the 4th minute of stoppage time. San Antonio picks up a point at home, but it's Oklahoma City Energy who have the real result to take away. Back with Cabe Markgraf, Mike Watts, and Oklahoma City, it didn't look like they were close to the goal for much of that game. They miss a penalty and find a way to get a result.
Yeah, they found a way to get a result through pure grit and determination. Jimmy Nielsen talked about his team not giving up for 90 minutes, but that span from the 45th to about the 80th minute mark, I have to say San Antonio had the run of play, looked the more dangerous team, but OKC was able to find their way back into it, even though they missed a penalty kick.
They don't move into playoff position with this result, but they do get a point. Let's take a look at how they did it. As Billy Forbes missing early but scoring in the 52nd. Miguel Gonzalez scoring late. Lorendi and Restrepo, big saves, but it finishes 1-1 for Kate Markgraf and Morgan Conklin. Mike Watts saying, so long, College Football Live is coming up next. San Antonio and OKC finish level, 1 goal apiece. Good night.